Before we get into the video, I need you guys to do me a favour. Number 1, like the video. Also comment, let me know your thoughts on the case. Now, UK rapper Samurai, real name Samuel Aguda, is said to have been one of the rappers that helped shape the Manchester sound. He helped the likes of Bugsy Malone and aitch and Kenzo with their sound and how to structure songs. However, he was jailed for 24 years because he could not leave the street life alone, and being a gangster took precedent over having a viable and profitable music career that could have effectively changed his life. Now, rapper Samurai was a known figure around Manchester and the north of England, not just for his music, but for the things he did on the streets. He had fans and even performed at the Royal Northern College, but he was a real problem on the streets, and everybody knew it. Now, it was reported that before Samurai had allegedly shot a rival twice on the same day, him and his gang had held a taxi driver at blade point, and this was back in February of 2017. One blade to the neck and a second blade to the face. Now, one member of the gang is said to have shouted, "Give me what you got," or "I'll, you." Now, the taxi driver was petrified, he was scared, he was frightened, he didn't know what to do, so he gave Samurai and Co the money, the wallet, mobile phone, and even the keys to his personal car, that being an Audi. The taxi driver was then forced to lay on the ground, face first, hands behind his back, and told not to move, while the gang confiscated everything that the taxi driver owned. They then took the Skoda taxi and even robbed the taxi driver's personal car, as I said, being the Audi. Now, on a separate occasion, Samurai had then become a known dealer, distributing Class A gear, both H and Coke. Now, police received intel that Samuel Aguda was dealing in the northern area of Manchester, and eventually he was caught by police with 34 wraps of H and 2 wraps of Coke, and also a snap bag of weed, 2 of them. Now, at the time, Samuel Aguda was doing everything to risk his freedom. He was also arrested for an attempted M on arrival. According to reports, Samuel Aguda had armed himself with a pistol, and on the 13th of April 2017, Samuel was near his home in Scotland's Hall Road in Newton Heath. Now, Samuel and the victim had issues over a girl, and the two had often gone back and forth with each other, telling each other, "When I catch you, we'll sort it out then." Of course, they acted in an aggressive manner, and they knew that trouble was going to flare whenever they ran into each other. Now, the victim had arrived in Newton Heath in his Mercedes at a time of 5 p.m. and charged after Samurai with a baseball bat. Now, the victim probably thought that he could catch Samuel off guard. However, Samuel was already armed with his pistol, so he pulled it out. Now, the victim initially thought that it was an imitation and then laughed in Samurai's face. After it was pointed at him, Samuel pressed the trigger upwards of 10 times from roughly 10 feet away. Now, the victim was shot in the groin area. Now, the victim initially got back in his Mercedes and then left the scene, but for some weird and strange reason he returned a short time later, and that was when he was shot a second time, this time being the shoulder. Now, when Samuel was arrested and then had to go to court, the jury could not agree if Samuel was responsible for the first shooting, but they did find him guilty of the second shooting, and that's how he got his attempted M charge. However, Samuel explained that he was the victim in all of this and all he did was defend himself. He also says that he was not responsible for shooting the victim, he has no idea what happened there, and it's possible that the victim could have got shot by his own accomplices. However, when the victim was in hospital, the police paid him a visit, and he did name Samurai as the person responsible for the shooting. However, when the victim realised that police were recording the interview, he tried to take back his statement for fear of being labelled a snitch. But of course, the police did not accept it. They already told him, "All the evidence and what you've said has been recorded," and the prosecution used the statement to find Samuel Aguda guilty of a ton of charges. Now, for all these different things, again, Samurai was jailed for 24 years because he couldn't understand that it was better to have a music career and leave the street life alone than that being that you could change your life. He wanted to be considered a gangster. Despite all of this, him and aitch still maintain a friendship. Stay safe.